best known as the episode where this reaction image comes from. Oh, I guess you want more than that. On the way to his next heist, a man calling himself Kyosuke Mamo appears before Lupin and says he will die in 4 days. Now I'm calling this guy Kyosuke as there's another major character called Mamo in this series, and it's a good way to differentiate the two. Anyway, Lupin shrugs it off and pulls off his heist without a hitch. However, as they're admiring the statue they stole, it disappears before their eyes. Kyosuke appears before them and says he will get revenge for his descendant's death at the hands of Lupin III in 2874. Jigen has heard the name before and decides to look into it despite Lupin's skepticism. Lupin thinks back to his first encounter with Kyosuke and remembers that he mentioned he has mastered time travel, giving his date of birth as the 18th of November 1932. Jigen and Goemon appear and tell him their results, with even the date of birth matching. Lupin drives out to a castle to challenge Kyosuke, and Kyosuke tells him that he plans to kill Lupin's ancestor, demonstrating this by travelling back in time and killing the head builder of the castle, causing it to vanish. Despite putting up a brave front, Lupin's cracking. He tries to take his mind off it with a day out with Fujiko, but Kyosuke taunts him throughout. In a last-ditch effort, he proposes to Fujiko before he dies, though Kyosuke sees through this as Lupin's plan to have her carry on the Lupin name and transports her to the past. Inspired by a fake-out death outburst from Jigen calling Goemon Mr. Edo period, Lupin asks Kyosuke to target his grandfather's grandfather, Jiromiki of Kawamuko. He also asks to see Fujiko one last time, which Kyosuke agrees to. When he travels away, Lupin puts his plan into action. He and the others build a set piece, and Lupin poses as Jiromiki. With his guard down, the gang attack Kyosuke and trash the time machine, leaving Kyosuke to run scared as they laugh. All's well that ends well, though Fujiko still wants to get married. Time travel's always been one of my favourite subjects in storytelling, but that said, it's easy to write it in a way that causes a jerk like me to question the mechanics behind it. For example, why would killing the castle builder only cause this single castle to disappear and not have any other knock-on effects? I mean, maybe I'm overanalyzing again, seeing as the story isn't really too focused on the time travel aspect anyway. Kyosuke is a pretty memorable character, starting off as intimidating until Lupin manages to figure out a plan against him and causes him to show his true colours. Probably no coincidence that this isn't the last time he's used, even if those uses are still some time away. On the cruise ship Cupid, Lady Catherine Martin, the Queen of Hollywood, is holding a wedding ceremony. Lupin has targeted her prize emerald, the Eye of the Nile, but she's not worried. Fujiko, working independently, has infiltrated as a maid named Margaret to make a grab for it herself. Lupin sneaks aboard the Cupid in the wedding cake, managing to keep out of the way of Zenigata's intricate testing to make sure no one is hiding in the cake. Fujiko takes the emerald just before the ceremony, and as they come into the main hall, Lupin spots her, but takes the fake anyway, causing an uproar. Zenigata orders no one to leave, but Catherine reminds him they're out at sea, so Lupin is trapped. As Lupin prepares to mingle and escape, Fujiko appears, unable to resist gloating. But when Catherine's cat Belle scares her, she drops it and reveals it's also a fake. Annoyed at being duped by Catherine, the two decide to team up to find the real emerald. Zenigata almost sees through Lupin's disguise until Fujiko introduces him as Count Nipu, which is a name he probably should have seen through, though I guess he didn't see it written down or anything. As a distraction, Lupin dances with Catherine while Fujiko heads to her room to find the emerald. Zenigata is also investigating, so she dances him down to the main hall and into Catherine's arms, freeing herself and Lupin up. They have no luck, and Zenigata's onto them, finding no record of a Nipul in the guest list. Catherine tells him that Nipul is an old friend, however. Lupin gives Fujiko a bug and tells her to ask about the real emerald. Catherine is wise to them, however, and leads Lupin around on the location. As the two get frustrated, Fujiko spots Belle sleeping with one eye open, causing Lupin to realise the emerald's location. He tells Fujiko to head down to the power room, and Catherine approaches him. Catherine tells Lupin she knew who he was, and as Zenigata arrives, Fujiko cuts the power, allowing Lupin to steal the emerald and fly off as he bids Catherine farewell. You kind of have to ask yourself, which is the worst thing? Lupin stealing the cat's eye, or Catherine putting the emerald in there to begin with? Though in the 1970s I suppose less people thought about something like that. Catherine giving them the runaround was fun to watch at any rate, and it's also hard not to find Zenigata and Fujiko's dancing amusing. Also of note, Catherine is voiced by Eiko Masayama, the voice actress of Fujiko in the pilot. Won't be the last time we hear her either, as I'm sure most long-time fans will know. The Commissioner has placed Zenigata on a police conference in Europe. Zenigata is more worried about Lupin's next heist, stealing a golden bust owned by a man named Kinman, so he begs to let him catch Lupin first. The gang make their move that night, working pretty in sync, but they underestimate the boosted security and almost get caught. As he escapes, Lupin ends up falling down a hole. He thinks nothing of it initially, as he and Zenigata both know that this hole is an escape route to a bomb shelter leading right under the bust's mantelpiece. With Zenigata stepping up security, Fujiko suggests Lupin let himself be caught, giving him an idea. He poses as a drunk, and when he's locked away to sober up, stashes a small box in his cell. Lupin's next plan comes into motion that night, with Jigen posing as a truck driver and intentionally hitting the hole. While he distracts the police, Lupin sneaks in through the hole and bides his time. Jigen crashes into the main gate, pulling more police away, including Zenigata. Fujiko also cuts the power, allowing Lupin to steal the bust at the cost of tripping a pressure button. He makes his way back to the hole, but Zenigata intercepts. He's very restrained in how he feels in finally catching Lupin. With positive press and a clear mind, Zenigata gets ready to head to Europe. What he didn't anticipate was Lupin being in the same cell as before and using the box he stashed away, a box of escape tools. The gang joins the police force in seeing Zenigata off, knowing it's too late for him to stop the plane, and letting him take the bus without any further worry. Not really much to say here beyond this is a really great episode. It's good to see the gang working together so well on a heist, as well as Zenigata having a good balance of his goofiness mixed with his competence as a police officer. Lupin and Jigen are staking out a diamond smuggling operation held by Beaver Jewellery. Jigen suggests acting now, but Lupin points out the extra guards surrounding the area. Fujiko, who gave them the info, is less than impressed with Lupin and goads him into stealing from Beaver's shop by comparing him to his grandfather. The next day, while Fujiko poses as a customer, Lupin and Jigen disguise themselves as toilet cleaners and glue the shop staff down before making a move on the diamonds. Despite Jigen's warning that they're behind schedule, Fujiko causes Lupin to waste time by going for every jewel in the shop by playing to his sense of pride again. Of course, this ends up biting him as it draws witnesses to call the police. Lupin and Jigen make their escape through a network of narrow roads, ditching the truck and leaving by car. Their success is short-lived as they're hit by a puncture thanks to some nails in the road. Conveniently, a tow truck comes by to help, except this is a disguised Fujiko who takes off with the jewels. Jigen learns that Fujiko's board a seaplane, figuring she plans to escape with the diamonds using it. With this in mind, Lupin calls Beaver to act as a distraction and they shoot her down. Lupin grabs the jewels, but Beaver and his men are still patrolling, forcing them into a cliffside cabin. Time passes and Beaver's men set up explosives on the cabin, though Beaver himself is arrested by Zenigata, who's gotten wise to his smuggling. Lupin escapes using a rope attached to another cliff, though Zenigata shoots up the cabin to try and stop him. It's a race to the other side that Zenigata wins, but the rope's anchor comes loose, forcing him to hold on and allowing the gang to run. The diamonds were lost to the cabin breaking apart, however, and Lupin tosses the last one, not wanting only a partial victory. I mentioned in my last video that this episode was the first to use the third opening, and there's something of a lighter shift in tone in terms of the storytelling itself. It's another pretty fun episode, and it marks Zenigata's first time giving a fourth wall cracking declaration that he'll get the gadget that Lupin next time. And on the note of next time, we'll be covering episodes 17 to 20, including bombs, beauty contests, and books on thievery. Until then,